Admit it. We've all gotten frustrated a time or two with rotary cutting the fabric for our quilt blocks, right? I mean, especially if you're a beginner, using a rotary cutter can take a lot of time. Your pieces can come out wonky. And then when you sew it all together, you are just not satisfied with the result. But don't despair, my quilting friend. There's a better way, and it's called the Accuquilt cutting system. Since I started using the Accuquilt cutting system, I have had the most fun in my quilting craft, and my projects look amazing. Hi, my name is Tammy, and I am a human being. I believe that quilting is magical and has the power to connect us stitch by stitch. Let me introduce you to the two Accuquilt cutters that I use the most. There are three main reasons why I absolutely love the Accuquilt cutting system. Everything you see in this video has been purchased by me with my own hard-earned pennies, and it is 0% sponsored by the company. So, first of all, you can cut up to 6 layers of quilting cotton using all of their machines. And so what that means is that your pieces come out 100% accurate every time, and you get 6 of them in one pass. Let me see you try doing that with a rotary cutter. It's not happening. The second reason is that it pretty much eliminates the body strain you get with using a rotary cutter. And what I mean by that is I have a tendency of pressing really hard on the cutting mat using the rotary cutter. And what that results in is my wrist starts hurting. And then I also was getting some shoulder pain. And let me show you the rotary cutter that I use because I think it's very cool. I'm left-handed, and I use this left-handed rotary cutter from Martinelli. And I'm sure there are other ones, but I did my best with this rotary cutter thing. I was using a traditional rotary cutter. It didn't work. So I said, let me get a left-handed one. So I got this one. And as you can see, it is pretty ergonomically correct. But even with this, I was pressing really hard. So I said, you know what? Scrap that. I have to find another solution. So that's when I invested in the Accuquilt cutting system. The third reason why I love the Accuquilt cutting system is a little controversial. There are some quilters here on YouTube who think that using the Accuquilt cutting system causes them to waste a lot of fabric. And you know what? You do waste a lot of fabric unless you pre-cut your fabric in advance. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. I pre-starch my fabric when I purchase it in yardage or my fat quarters. I use linen starch to pre-starch my fabric. Once that's done and it's dry, I think about what quilt I'm going to make, or whatever project I'm making, and then I pull out those dies. So once I've thought that through, say, for instance, I'm using these 2 dies. And so what I do at that point, I take my yardage and I go, okay, well, let me cut. I know I'm going to be using these two dies. So I'm going to pre-cut my fabric. I'm going to give myself about 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch on this side and 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch on this side. And so what that ends up being is something that looks like this. So when you do that, watch this magic. You see this dark area of the die here? Now, with the Accuquilt cutting system, it uses the cutter, the die, fabric, and a mat. So the blades are located between this light gray and this dark gray area. And I'm not going to press on it because I'll cut my finger. But you can see that this is a pre-cut, pre-starched piece of fabric. And so look at that. Because it's pre-cut, and I know I'm going to use these particular dies for my project. See how it covers the die, and like you have about 1/4 inch on this side and 1/4 inch on that side. So what that means is like I fan fold it and I get my 6 layers, and then I get my mat and I run it through. Only fabric that gets wasted is right here and right here, because when I fan fold, I try to cover like this part and then below. So if you strategically think about your project in advance, you pre-cut it into strips, you really have minimal wastage with the Accuquilt cutting system versus when you're rotary cutting. I never was able to find out a way not to waste fabric. I just despise rotary cutting if you haven't figured that out already. So I have a total of 3 Accuquilt cutters. I have the Go Me, I have the Go Big Electric, and I have the Studio Cutter. Yes, I have a Studio Cutter because I'm an overachiever and I was gonna do something different, but that's another YouTube video. Let me show you how this Go Me works. So when you purchase the Go Me cutter, which is this little one, this is their entry level cutter. And I would say, it's up to your budget and how much you quilt, but definitely it's an entry level cutter and it works well with an exception, which I'll talk about. So this cutter came with these 2 dies actually, and it came with a brand new mat, and it came with a pattern and idea book, which is kind of cool. Gives you some patterns and quilt blocks you can make using the 2 dies it comes with. It came with some instructions and then like a very like pictorial style of instructions. So this is what the cutter looks like. This is what it looks like flat. You open the cutter and voila. You basically take this die, you place your fabric on top, and you use this handle to roll it through. Now, here is my biggest pet peeve with this Go Me cutter. When you are cutting your fabric and you have a brand new die like this, it's a little tricky to get it going, especially if you put 6 layers in. So what you have to do is you have to press down and shimmy it a little and get it going. But what happens over time, the more you cut with this cutter, your mat starts to look like this one. This mat has been used a lot. And so it is very difficult for me to use this mat and this Go Me cutter. So I found myself purchasing more mats to make it easier to use this cutter. I became frustrated with that. I saved my money and I purchased the Go Big Electric. And with the Go Big Electric, you have 0 issues with using a mat that is as used as this one. So let me show you the Go Big cutter. Here is the Go Big Electric cutting machine. When you purchase this machine, it comes with the Flying Geese die. It comes with the cutting mat that fits with the die. And the reason why I have green painter's tape on my die is because I like to extend the life of my mat by rotating it when I use the cutter. So when I have this green tape here, I go, oh, okay, I use this side. Let me flip it over. It also comes with a pattern and idea book that is specific to this Flying Geese die. So what that means is that everything or all the patterns and ideas in this book you can make with using this Flying Geese die and mat that the cutter comes with. It also comes with instructions and tips for use. At the time when I purchased my system, it also came with this Quilt in a Day Go Cube book by Eleanor Burns, and I have made a couple of blots out of this book, but I really don't use it. I use the mix and match set, and so I use the patterns in there. So let me open up this cutter so you can see what it looks like. It's got some weight to it. I don't know, I want to say it's about 15 pounds. So this cutter is not as portable as the Go Me. The Go Me cutter, maybe 7 to 10 pounds. I'm not sure. You have to check the website, but that one's portable. Has a little handle. You just pick it up and take it with you. This machine is one that you want to find a home that is semi-permanent, meaning you're not going to be moving it around as frequently because it's heavy. So when you open it, it looks like this. So what happens, oh, and this has a handle right here. You can see there's a handle in here. And as you can see, I'm lifting it and I'm grunting a little because it's heavy. But when you open it, this is what it looks like. So you simply take your die, you place your fabric on the die, you take your mat, you scoot it through here, and then it comes out on this side. I love this cutting system. I believe that it makes my quilting journey so enjoyable, and the results of my projects are amazing. Check out this next video and I'll show you more about the Accuquilt cutting system.